The Reserve Bank's monetary policy is just a few hours away. This is the first policy under the new governor, Urjit Patel, and it's also the first time when the governor is not the sole deciding authority. The six-member Monetary Policy Committee will decide the policy, and the governor's vote is crucial, but only if there is a deadlock. The Monetary Policy Committee met for the first time at the RBI headquarters in Mumbai today. This is the first of the two-day meeting, which will end tomorrow.
The governor is expected to announce the decision at 2:45 p.m. tomorrow. So what should you expect in tomorrow's policy? CNBC TV18 has conducted a mega poll among the country's top bankers and CEOs. First, the bankers, 65% expect a status quo tomorrow, 30% expect a 25 basis points rate cut, 5% are actually hoping for a 50 basis points rate cut. Almost all bankers accept that there is ample liquidity in the system, and overwhelming 95% expect the cash reserve ratio to remain unchanged. Okay, so Latha, what is your sense? I mean, that's the general word from the poll, but given the fact that it's Governor Patel's first policy and the MPC's first policy, pretty important day lined up?
Yes, I mean, the fact that it is the MPC which is going to announce is important. Our poll, of course, said that 65% expected to remain a hold. If I had a casting vote, I would think there is a rate cut. But the point is, how bullish will that sound? How dovish? It's quite possible that there could be one dissenting vote. So it could be 5-1 or it could be, 4-2. So the effectiveness of RBI saying rate cut will not be there. It could get diluted. It could. There could be a dissenting comment as well. And look at the guys who are voting. The RBI panel, the three members from RBI may vote as a bloc. They are unlikely to have differences of opinion. But the three external members, Chetan Ghate is known to be mildly hawkish. I mean, we are only going by, what he has written. And Mr. Ravindra Dholakia of the IIM is not really a monetary policy guy as much as a general economist well-versed in corporate affairs. He is, from the look of things, known to be a little dovish. Mami Dua's hand is not known, though she's an econometrician of repute and has studied business cycles. So we don't know whether this will dilute the statement itself that comes. The more important policy is what should you expect from the press conference, because there, in all probability, it will be Governor Patel and the RBI team which will address. Even in the FOMC, the MPC members don't address. Only Yellen addresses. So one assumes that the press conference will be only the RBI's forte. And there you would look for what they are going to do with liquidity. Will they buy dollars rather than bonds to keep the market liquid? That will be very important, since Commerce Ministry has been asking for a cheaper rupee. Also, what the governor wants to do about NPAs, whether he will continue to keep the pressure that the previous governor had brought on. So I think the press conference will be very interesting. It's a tight half hour from 2:45 to 3:15, and the markets will have only 15 minutes to react.
Well, it's going to be quite a roller coaster perhaps tomorrow. Now, we've told you what the bankers are expecting. What about CEOs of India Inc? We did a poll among the top 50 CEOs, and as expected, 64% of them said that high cost of money is impeding growth. Only 36% think otherwise. So how much do they expect rates to ease by? 44% expect a 50 basis points cut in the next 12 months. 18% expect more than 100 basis points rate cut. And a small minority is even expecting a 200 basis points rate cut. But that does not mean that CEOs are not bullish on growth, even otherwise. More than 40% expect double-digit growth this year. Only 6% expect profit growth to contract. In fact, we discussed some of these trends with Varun Berry of Britannia. He's among the 40% who expect double-digit growth.
I would think that it's, if my profit growth is accretive to my top-line growth, I'll be very happy. And I certainly would like to see, a double-digit top-line growth. So I would fall in that middle category.
Okay, there were another 24% which expected a 20% plus growth. Now, another question we asked the CEOs was this: is deflation over for corporate India? The majority of 60% say deflation is over, but the remaining 40% say deflation is still not over. Varun Berry of Britannia surprisingly believes that inflation is round the corner.
We are seeing inflation right now. Our material cost inflation is right now sitting at about 9.5%. And the earlier estimate on this was about 5.5%. So it's a fairly high inflation at this stage. But very happy with the government's very proactive approach on this. In fact, some of the commodities like wheat, they've reduced the import duties, similarly on oil, and they've put some stocking limits on sugar, so that's going to cool down the commodity rates. But yes, deflation is for sure over for us.
So since he's looking at inflation in his input prices, that's why he's expecting almost a 7 to 7.5% price increase for his portfolio. That's Britannia.